Okay, so when there is excess, okay, it causes deficiency symptoms of zinc, copper, ferrous and manganese. Why? Because when excessive phosphates are present, okay, they'll not remain in their phosphate form. They will either combine with any of these, like they'll form zinc phosphate, copper phosphate or ferrous phosphate. Okay, they'll form some compound and they will remain. So phosphate is excess, but zinc, copper and ferrous are in their normal quantities, right? So they are not being available to the plant. Okay, getting? And all these, okay, these micronutrients also play an essential role. Okay, though they will not cause dying of the plant or some major degradation of the plant part, but they will hinder in the normal functioning of the plants. Okay, fine. Also, your seeds are very much high in phosphorus. Why? Because lots of ATP. Remember, when the seed is due to germination, there is lots of respiration occurring, lots of ATP being utilized. So when ATP is being utilized, it is broken into ADP and phosphate. So high, rich in phosphorus. Okay. Okay. Now, again, phosphorus deficient plants remain stunted. Okay. Also, phosphorus deficient plants show chlorosis. Remember, I told you chlorosis, clearing of veins. Also, they show yellowing of leaves. Why? Because there is not much of photosynthesis that will occur. Yeah. Now coming to potassium. Okay, what is the main role of potassium? Opening and closing of stomata. Okay. If they are not present, then they will not. The stomata will not be able to exchange hydrogen and potassium ions. Okay. Apart from that, okay, potassium is normally present in large amounts. Okay. Normally it is present in large amounts. Okay. And in the soil, freely present in the soil. Okay. Now, potassium, apart from being important in closing and opening of stomata, it is also an activator of many enzymes. As in the presence of potassium, many enzymes will start functioning. Okay, it's the same thing even in our body. Potassium is a very important activator of many enzymes. Okay, regulation of water movement across membranes through stomata, guard cell functions, like I told you yesterday. Okay, hydrogen ions will be exchanged with potassium ions. Okay, now deficiency, there will be leaf margin necrosis and browning. Okay, older leaves are more affected. Okay, then toxicity will again cause leaf tip and marginal necrosis. Okay, see, when there is excess of anything, okay, like supposing excess of potassium now I am talking about. Okay, more amount of this, so there will not be proper opening and closing of stomata. Two things will happen. Either excessive transpiration from that particular area, like if this is my leaf, okay, okay, excessive transpiration from here. Okay, all these are functioning normally. Yeah. Excessive transpiration from here. Okay, so these are getting dehydrated. Eventually, this part will start. Yeah. Necrosis will start in this part. Okay, regional will occur. Okay, regional necrosis will occur. Okay, in case of potassium. Right. Also, deficiency of potassium leads to scorched leaf tips. Scorched leaf tips are like, if you say, you can say they have an appearance of burnt this. Because of excessive loss of water, they start drying up, and that's why little amount of heat is also affecting it too much. They're not having water to maintain. Okay, so your leaf tips start have this burnt kind of look. Okay. See, marginal necrosis because of potassium. Now you're getting what I'm saying? Okay. See, now this is an example. Okay, this is a photo where this is your completely grown lettuce leaf. Okay, lettuce is, you all know lettuce, right? Now, if there is no nitrogen, okay, or if I subjected to nitrogen deficiency, okay, there is stunted growth in the leaf, okay, and also you can see light coloration because of nitrogen, not enough amount of synthesis of proteins, etc. taking place. Okay, now phosphorus, okay, when there is less of phosphates, okay, you can see that the growth is stunted, okay, but you can still see the greenish coloration, okay. It's not affecting photosynthesis, if you can see. It's affecting your growth, but not affecting photosynthesis, right? Okay. Potassium, you can see the leaf margins getting affected, okay, more than anything, even though it's attaining its normal height, because potassium has nothing got to do with growth, right? It's got with opening and closing of stomata and maintaining water balance, okay. So even though it's almost attaining the normal height or the normal size of the leaf, okay, you can see over here. And the same thing when all three of them are deficient, okay, the plant is stunted, no photosynthesis occurring properly, okay, and your margins are also being going under necrosis, okay. You can see the difference, okay. See, when you want to remember, okay, which nutrient is occurring or which nutrient is affecting what, try to understand or try to remember the major the major activity that it will hinder. Then the rest will come into the picture. Like for nitrogen, remember nitrogen is bases, so main thing that will hinder is growth because synthesis, okay. Phosphates, main thing it will affect is synthesis, but phosphates will not have any role in phosphates will also have a role in photosynthesis, okay, because of ATP. Try and remember the major compound that is being formed, okay, NADP, okay, all require phosphates. When coming to potassium, remember it has got nothing to do with growth, but potassium, remember stomata, so something to do with water balance, okay. Try and remember the major activity that's affecting, then you will be able to remember all the symptoms and whatever happens, okay. Same thing over here also. See, this is your bean leaf, okay. When you nitrogen, phosphorus, this, and then all three which are deficient, okay, completely small or completely non-developed leaf, okay. Okay. Now coming to calcium, okay. Calcium, okay, is your majorly required, okay, in maintaining ion balances, okay, maintaining ion balance in your plant body, okay. Apart from that, okay, calcium is a very important molecule also in signaling, okay. When hormones have to be when signaling of hormones has to take place from one end of the plant, but they are synthesized at one end but their effect is on the other end. So who helps in the signaling? It is these calcium molecules which will carry the signals, carry the hormones, okay. Now it is seen also, it's mostly seen in vacuoles, okay, and also in some plants in the form of calcium oxalate crystals. Remember we studied about lithocysts, calcium oxalate crystals that were seen in your leaf epidermis, so they are also seen there. And most of the calcium, okay, is in a non-exchangeable form. Non-exchangeable form in the sense what? That it will form, compound with something, dissociate. Forms with something, dissociate. It itself will not go any kind of exchange, okay. It will always be present in Ca+2 form only, okay, fine. Now in higher plants, calcium is also needed in low concentration for maintaining the structure of the plant, okay. And apart from this, okay, it is also an important when plants, okay, they want to break down starch and utilize the food that they have prepared, okay, calcium helps in breaking down of starch. Which enzyme breaks down starch? Amylase. So it is an important component of amylase, okay, as in amylase will not function on its own, it requires calcium to be bound to it, then it will start breaking down starch, okay, fine. Now also calcium is a very important component it helps in spindle formation during mitosis, okay. I think we came across this point when we were studying mitosis, that it helps in spindle formation. So basically if your plant is deficient in calcium, what will happen? No mitotic division occurring, okay. So again stunted growth, okay, you will not see growth in the plant, okay. Apart from that, since your this is not being able to utilize, okay, your plant is not able to break down your starch, what will happen is that some parts of the plant, okay, as in if this is your plant body, okay, okay, now supposing starch is to be broken down and being utilized because proper photosynthesis isn't occurring, okay, supposing this part of the plant, okay, requires your starch to be broken down and made into usable form, but enough calcium is not present, okay, so starch cannot be broken down, so you'll see death only in this part, okay, this part is functioning normally, okay, progressively if calcium is still not going to be available for prolonged period of time, eventually this will start, eventually death of the entire plant, okay, fine. See, this is a what do you say, disease, if you can say. Blossom and rot is a disease that is usually seen, okay, when calcium is not there. The whole tomato, if you cut this part open, okay, this part open, the whole tomato will be normal, okay, the whole tomato, the lower region will be normal, but there will be death only in this part, okay. So basically when these kind of tomatoes are harvested, okay, you can't sell them, right? Yeah. They basically get down your agricultural yield, because you can't sell these kind of tomatoes and tell the customers that no, if you cut the upper portion, the rest of the tomato is fine, okay. So usually nowadays what happens is that they have tried, okay, to grow tomatoes through hydroponics, okay. So because most of your calcium deficiency occurs because of microorganisms which are entering through the roots and they are utilizing your calcium, okay. So they have tried growing hydroponic tomatoes, but I still haven't come across any commercial production of tomatoes, okay. This blossom and rot is not usually seen in India. It's seen in countries like Spain, okay, European side countries. They have this blossom, rot and tomatoes, okay. Okay, influence of calcium on root induction on rose cuttings, okay. Very simple. If you can see, as they've increased the calcium concentration, you can see the roots being formed also more, okay. Okay. Now, coming to sulfur. Sulfur is the major component of which kind of constituent of plant? Have heard of something called as SS bond, sulfur bridge, xenon, essential amino acid, okay. So if sulfur is absent altogether, okay, cysteine will not be formed. When cysteine is not formed, okay, it's not available in the amino acid pool, so protein synthesis won't occur. Because when protein synthesis is occurring, if one particular amino acid is not there, protein synthesis will stop, okay, it will not continue further, right? So not properly formed proteins, eventually not properly formed proteins, what will happen to the plant? Improper growth of the plant, okay. Now sulfur, okay, it is present in mineral pyrites, okay, in sulfides, sulfates, mostly occurring in sulfates, okay, for plants, okay. It is mostly contained in organic matter, okay, like our bodies, everything, you will find it, lots of sulfur, okay. Acid rain provides sulfur, okay, but not that acid rain is helpful and plants require acid rain, not like that, but yes, acid rain does provide sulfur back to the soil, okay. It is a component of amino acids, methionine, cysteine, okay, is a constituent of coenzymes and vitamins. Many vitamins have sulfur bond, if you see this SS bond, okay, it's present in many vitamins, okay. Then responsible for pungency and flavor of onion, garlic, mustard, that pungent, this you can see when you cut onions, when water comes from your eyes, it's because of the sulfur that is released from these onions. Flavor, that's the wrong spelling. Flavor only, okay. Garlic, mustard, okay. Mostly onion you can make out very clearly because of that pungent smell. Okay, even when you remove the onion peel, okay, you get this kind of liquid, okay, which looks like water, but if you keep it on your hand for more and more time, it appears little sticky. That has sulfur in it. Okay. Then deficiency causes light green or yellowing or new growth. Okay. Sulfur is immobile. It cannot traverse. Matlab, if one part of the plant has more amount of sulfur, the other part has less amount of sulfur, it will not travel. Like your phosphate, okay, is mobile, right? Sulfur is immobile. It is formed only in a constituent of amino acids. Okay. Then toxicity, not commonly seen. I have not heard of any cases where there is sulfur toxicity to the plant. Okay. Now fertilizers. Gypsum is a very commonly used fertilizer. If you've ever heard of gypsum, yeah. Gypsum is calcium sulfate. Okay. Then there's magnesium sulfate that's used. Then there's ammonium sulfate. Then there's elemental sulfur also that is used. Okay. Sulfur is usually which color? Yellow in color. I explained you all once. Okay. Now coming to magnesium. Magnesium, most important required chlorophyll, component of chlorophyll. Okay, for chlorophyll to function, there was magnesium present along with all your chlorophyll pigments. Okay. So when magnesium, okay, if magnesium is deficient, what will happen? Photosynthesis will not occur because not enough amount of chlorophyll which is there in proper form. Okay. Now, magnesium is present in soil as an exchangeable cation. Okay, it can move. Okay, it is in fact highly mobile. Okay, then it is similar to calcium as a cation. Okay, it will be present only in Mg form. Okay, it can associate and dissociate, but will not form any compound. Okay, same as calcium. Okay, it will be present as an Mg form. Okay, it is the core component of chlorophyll molecule. It is a catalyst for certain enzyme activities. Okay, like sucrose, when it has to be broken down into glucose and fructose, it requires magnesium. Actually, in fact, a lot of reactions which we've seen in the plants, I have mentioned magnesium over here, where magnesium acts as a cofactor. Okay, as in, it does not take part in the reaction, like a catalyst only. Okay. Now, deficiency will cause intervenial chlorosis on mature leaves. Okay, again clearing. Okay, excess causes deficiency symptoms of calcium and potassium. Okay, when anything is present in excess, okay, in one region, it will see that for its presence, it will deplete other compounds. Okay. Now fertilizers that are used are dolomite, Epsom salt, magnesium nitrate, magnesium sulfate. Okay, all these compounds are usually seen in a mixture. Okay, with other compounds.
All the elements are given in excess.
See, if all are given in excess, if you give a cocktail of excess elements, what will happen? That one element will start inhibiting the other. Okay, like if you give calcium also in excess, okay, magnesium also in excess, ferrous also in excess, and supposing phosphate also in excess, what will happen? Phosphate, okay, it will be there available as ATP, ADP. Whatever is present, okay, the leftover, it will start forming, okay, compounds with magnesium, etc. It will be deficient. Okay, then these compounds that are formed, they will start inhibiting the activity because they have no work. Okay, they are just present as dead or unusable compounds, so they will start inhibiting the activity. So there has to be a particular range in which you give. Okay, now excessive nitrogen also becomes toxic for the plants at times. Okay, because when excessive nitrogen is present, it will prevent, okay, the photosynthesis. When photosynthesis, water is split up and oxygen is given off, it will prevent oxygen from being given off. It will combine with oxygen. Okay, so again it is going to cause suffocation for the plant if you go to see. Okay, it will become toxic to the plant, more amount of.
Like the amount of chemicals you give to the plant, it has to take it.
We give only that much that it can take in. The amounts have been set. Okay, we have, like, when all these fertilizers and all are formulated, what they do is that first they put plants in different concentrations of these fertilizers. Okay, and then they see in which concentration it's working the best. That means in which concentration, it can completely take in that much and it's not affecting it also. Okay, there is always a precise amount in which these nutrients are. Even when we make artificial nutrient medium, okay, there is always a particular amount, okay, in which your different salts and all are added. Okay, the artificial nutrient that we take. Okay, see, this is on intervenal chlorosis. If you can see over here, clearing yellow regions. Okay, and only the veins where there is little chlorophyll left. You can see the veins clearly, which is not normally seen in leaves.
What are these red leaves?
These, yeah, they are normal. Poinsettia is a plant which has both kind of leaves. Okay. Now, coming to micronutrients, those which are not even required for survival of the plant, okay, but they are required in less quantities. Okay. Your micronutrient elements are iron, manganese, boron, zinc, molybdenum, copper, chlorine. Okay. Now these are usually supplied in small amounts. They are mixed with water, which is used for irrigation and all, because required in very less quantities, plant can take up on its own. Okay. Now coming to the first one, that is iron. Okay. When you've studied electron transport system, okay, there's something known as cytochromes that we came across a lot of times, even in your cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay. Now iron is a main component of cytochromes. Also ferredoxin, remember the one which was conjugated with NADP and then which gave rise to NADPH. Okay, ferredoxin, iron again, ferrous. Okay. Now deficiency will cause intervenient chlorosis on new growth, but the newer ones that are formed. It will not affect the already formed leaves, but newer ones. So in that case, it is not essential for the survival. The plant will not die, but the newer ones will not be formed normally. Okay. Iron chlorosis develops when soil pH is very high, also very alkaline in nature, that is. Okay. Now remedy for iron chlorosis. EDTA is a chelating agent. Okay. I know what's the meaning of chelating agent. Okay. See, when EDTA is mixed with any compound, okay, mostly ferrous, okay, what will happen when you put it in the soil or something? It will dissociate. It will just give off, leach away ferrous. Okay, it will easily dissociate with ferrous. Then ferrous can be available to the plant. Okay, so when we see chlorosis occurring, okay, in a plant, what we do is immediately apply large quantities of this EDTA along with ferrous. Okay, because ferrous in its natural form, like Fe plus 3, okay, is very unstable. So we need to conjugate it with something to add it. Okay, this is usually never present like this. Okay, now and also ferrous, okay, along with EDTA, when coupled with EDTA, it will be stable when the pH of your soil is already high. It will be stable in that that condition. Harry, you're getting? Okay, so EDTA is mixed with ferrous and then added to the soil, wherein EDTA will then dissociate from ferrous. Ferrous can be taken up in the Fe2 form, okay, in the plant, but in the environment naturally outside, Fe will not be present, because Fe will always form very readily. It will form this. That's why we couple it with EDTA. Okay, so it gives stability, and when it on reaching the plant, EDTA will be given off. That is known as chelating agent. Okay. Again over here you see chlorosis. Okay. And same thing, iron deficiency is like mostly only related to chlorosis. There is no other major symptom of iron deficiency. Okay. Then coming to Now the rest of these minerals that I'm going to tell, I have very small roles. Okay. So first thing is, okay, manganese or Mn. Okay. Now manganese is absorbed largely as Mn+2. Okay. It is known to activate many enzymes. Apart from it is also important during Krebs cycle. Okay, it acts as a cofactor during Krebs cycle. There is no other basic role of manganese. Okay, it is sometimes used in fertilizers when you see that the soil is deficient in manganese. Okay. Then there is boron. Boron is involved in carbohydrate metabolism. Boron is essential for flowering and pollen germination, and it aids or helps in nitrogen metabolism. Okay. Then deficiency will see new growth distorted and malformed. Okay, the newer ones which will be formed will not be formed in proper shape. Okay. Then toxicity, when there is excess of boron, okay, your twigs may die, the fruit may split up. Okay. Toxicity is very rarely seen. Okay. Then fertilizers are like borax, calcium borate. Okay. And then there is zinc. Zinc is very important in protein synthesis because have you all ever come across this term known as motifs? Okay, one of see, when proteins have to be folded. Okay, see, proteins are formed normally in a single chain. Okay, but then they have to be folded into a right conformation. Okay. So for this folding to occur in the right conformation, okay, and when this folding occurs, okay, and the secondary structure that takes place, okay, are known as motifs. Okay, and zinc, okay, is a very important one. Okay, because it holds, like when this is folded, okay, it will hold these two amino acids together. So very important in protein synthesis. Okay, once the protein is completely synthesized, okay, for it to fold, and so that this folded form does not dissociate, you require zinc. Okay, leucine zipper. Has anyone heard of leucine zipper? Okay, that's when your zinc, okay, your protein will be folded in such a way, okay, that your amino acid here and here, here and here is held by your zinc. Okay. So zinc is very important in protein synthesis. Okay, not that eventually what will happen is that if there is complete absence of zinc, okay, then eventually what will happen is that there will be growth suppression, because proteins, even though are formed, okay, they will not be folded properly. And now one thing, when proteins are not folded properly, your normal human body or plant body will not recognize it and it will degrade that protein. So eventually it becomes an energy consuming process for the plant. Okay, because even though the protein is degraded and amino acids made available, again it has to utilize energy to undergo protein synthesis. Okay, so deficiency shows growth suppression, reduced internode length, rosetting. Okay, that means internode length is reduced, so then all the leaves will be formed around one axis. Okay, intervenial chlorosis on young leaves. Okay, toxicity, growth reduction and leaf chlorosis. I have not heard of any case where there is zinc toxicity. Okay, let's see this diagram. Okay, micronutrient toxicity on seed geranium. Okay, as in micronutrients. Why are they termed as micronutrients? Because they are required at a precisely less concentration. Okay, these are all boron, copper, ferrous, manganese, molybdenum, zinc. Okay, fine. These are all your controlled, wherein exact proper amounts are given. Okay, then we started with your concentration, millimolar. Okay, 0.25, 0.51, 2, 3. If you can see, as we are going to the higher side, your growth is being more and more stunted. See this. When the concentration is 6 millimolar, your growth is really stunted. Why? Because when excess amount of these micronutrients are present, they will go and attack your major nutrients and will form components with your major nutrients. Okay, like it's like vice versa. When I told you excess of phosphates will go and form compounds with zinc or ferrous or copper. Same thing, when excess of these are there, they'll go and attack the phosphates and form. Then phosphates will not be available to the plant for its natural function. Either ways it will occur. Okay, so there is in micronutrients also there is a very fixed amount, okay, which has to be applied. Okay, excess will also cause stunting. Okay, and at low concentrations, if you see, they are very much near to your control. Okay, understood? Excess toxicity also is not good. Okay, then there is molybdenum. Okay, molybdenum is also required in very less quantities. It is required for nitrate reductase activity and vitamin synthesis. As in, when nitrates have to be reduced, okay, to form ammonia or amines or anything, okay, molybdenum is required as a cofactor or coenzyme. Okay, root nodule bacteria. Okay, when your what do you call these leguminous plants? Okay, the root nodule bacteria, when they take in your atmospheric nitrogen and they convert it to nitrates, okay, that's when they require a lot of molybdenum. Okay, right? And then deficiency, pale green, cupped young leaves, strap leaf in broad plants. As in, strap leaf is like, you're getting it, thinner, you know, broad leaf which are normally, they come like straps, very thin. Okay, toxicity is again chlorosis, okay, with orange color pigmentation. Then you come to copper. Copper is an essential component of several enzymes. For many enzymes to work, okay, you have copper as a cofactor. Okay, essential component of several enzymes of chlorophyll synthesis. Okay, deficiency will see rosette or witch's broom. As in, what will happen is that your leaves, okay, will form. Sorry. All these lower parts of the plant, okay, there will be no leaf formation. Only on the upper part there will be formation of a rosette. So it's called as a witch's broom. Okay, it appears like that. Okay, then fertilizers are copper sulfate, because then copper is also there and sulfur is also given. Okay, chlorine is involved for photosynthetic oxygen evolution. Okay, chlorine helps in giving off your oxygen. Okay, so deficiency normally doesn't. We have never seen chlorine deficiency. Okay, toxicity will show leaf margin chlorosis. Okay, and necrosis on all leaves. Fertilizers, chlorine is never applied as a fertilizer because it is ubiquitously present. Ubiquitous means is present everywhere throughout the plant in small quantities. Okay. This is your molybdenum deficiency, where you can see clearing of your chlorophyll from here and wrinkling of the edges. Yeah. Okay, today we are going to start with a chapter which is called as mineral nutrition, or basically we are going to study all the nutrients that plants require. Okay, all this while we've been studying that plants take in nutrition or nutrients from the soil, right? So we're going to see what kind of nutrients and in what forms. Okay, now nutrients can be defined, okay, or can be classified as macronutrients and micronutrients based on two things: the amount that is required, okay, and its essentiality. That is how essential it is, whether it is utmost important for its survival or whether it is just acting as a accessory factor. Talking about macronutrients and micronutrients, let's see which are the macronutrients and which are the micronutrients. Okay, see, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, calcium, these are all your macronutrients essential for the survival of the plant. Okay, micronutrients are iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, chlorine. Okay, now coming to iron. Okay, see, iron in some texts is said that it is a macronutrient, whereas in some texts it is defined as a micronutrient. So that is what you say, it has a kind of dual status, if you can say. Okay, then carbon, hydrogen, oxygen are essential, as in they form the plant, if you go to see, right? They are the main components of a plant. So you can't call them as nutrients because they make up the plant. Okay, but yeah, as in the nutrient form also they require carbon, oxygen and hydrogen. Okay. Okay. Before we come to studying each of the macronutrients, okay, see, how did scientists come to, identifying which are your macronutrients, which are your micronutrients, which are the basically required nutrients? Okay. Now there are three methods, okay, of detection of your nutrients and their physiological effects on the plants. First one is ash analysis. Ash analysis, the name suggests, you heat the plant, okay, or you burn the plant to about 600 degrees Celsius, okay. So all that's left is the ash, okay. All your organic components like oxygen, carbon, nitrogen will be given off in the air during this process if they are heated to that much. So what will be left will only be your minerals. Okay, so then they sort out, okay, or they kind of do analysis on all what is present in the ash. That will be your core minerals only. They are the only ones that will not be released into the air. Okay, that is one way of analyzing. Then the second one is solution culture experiments. What we do is first we grow around, like supposing I want to take or find out the role of about say 7 nutrients, okay, or 7 compounds. So what do I do first is I take 7 plants, okay, I grow them to an equal height, given them all equal atmosphere, equal sunlight, equal nutrition, everything. Then what I do is take these plants, okay, or take these seedlings, okay, and I place them in 7 different cultures or 7 different bottle of culture media, each having one specific component less. Like, you know, one will be complete media, okay, with all the nutrients except magnesium. Then the other one will be complete media except calcium. Okay, and I check and I see the way, and one I have as a control, completely fully grown plant with all the proper nutrients. So then I can compare my results as to only when calcium is less what happens. Okay. Same thing, okay, if I use on a solid media, it will be called as solid culture medium or solid culture experiments. Okay, instead of liquid, putting it in a bottle with liquid media, I'm using solid media. Okay, fine, just putting agar and solidifying the media. Okay, and before this, let's come to another thing known as hydroponics. Has anyone heard of hydroponics? Yeah, what do you know about hydroponics? Tell me.
Plants are grown without soil.
Without soil, exactly. And hydro, water. Okay, so what we are doing basically is the same kind of nutrients, okay, in the soil, okay, which we are finding. The same nutrients, we are mixing it in water and growing the plants in water. It has been seen it's very successful. Now when you have soil, why do you want water? There are many advantages of this procedure. First thing, you can grow in a small area, you can grow more number of plants because I can increase the concentration of the media anytime as and when I want to. Okay. Second thing, most of your plants, okay, get or are exposed to diseases because of microorganisms in the soil. Completely avoided if I do it in water. I can use sterilized water and everything. Okay. So hydroponics is not yet developed that much in India. Okay, as in the initial, when hydroponics was first developed, what was the initial aim was to put it for your crop plants. Okay, still now, see, there have been many limitations also of the procedure, so still now it's not completely developed, but yes, hydroponics is coming into picture. Okay, okay, now first coming to your macronutrients. Okay, we'll start with macronutrients. First thing is nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen we all know is the most abundant. Okay, even in the atmosphere, around 78% of your atmosphere is with nitrogen. Okay, apart from that, nitrogen is the main compound. If you see, if you see the chemical structure of your purines, pyrimidines, everything, they all have an N ring, right? So nitrogen, an essential component. Okay, and also nitrogen cycle is the most essential one for maintaining a balance in the world. Okay, between your animal bodies and plant bodies, right? I think this all you all would have studied this in your childhood, that when plants have nitrogen, animals consume that, right? When animals die, their body decomposes, decays. The nitrogen is again given off into the environment. Okay, some remains in the soil and most of it goes into the atmosphere. Okay, now plants cannot use atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, they can use atmospheric oxygen, they can use atmospheric carbon dioxide, but they cannot use atmospheric nitrogen. Nitrogen is taken in by the plants in the form of nitrates. Okay, okay, in the form of nitrates. So who makes this available? First, your leguminous plants, okay, nitrifying bacteria, okay, Then another very rare, as in very rare, no, very small amount is when your rain falls. Okay, nitrogen in this gets combined with water. Okay, then again nitrates are there present in the soil. Okay, so same thing. This is your soil nitrogen pool. You add fertilizers also. Okay, fertilizers may also see the lot of like Anabaena. Okay, and all your blue-green bacteria, cyanobacteria, all of them do the same thing, make nitrogen available to soil. Okay, from here ammonia. Okay, first ammonia is formed. Okay, then from ammonia nitrates are formed. Nitrates are taken in by the plant. From plant to the animals consuming it. Yeah, animals once dead, decaying, so the nitrogen goes back to the soil. Okay, apart from it, some amount of nitrates are also given off or wasted because of leaching. Okay, as in see, water is very essential for the plants. Okay, but when we are doing irrigation, okay, or when we are like what do you call, when we are watering the plants and everything, this water that is seeping in through the soil, going to the water table, okay, it also takes in a lot of nitrates along with it, because nitrates are not firmly bound, they are loosely present in the soil. Okay, even when your leguminous plants, your root nodules, okay, they synthesize your nitrates, they give it off, okay, and in the soil, and the plant takes it from the soil, right? So these nitrates are very loosely present in the soil. So a lot of nitrates are also wasted by this process called as leaching. Leaching is a process wherein nitrates are washed off from the soil. Okay. Now coming to, this was your plant, animal bodies, etc. Okay. Same thing. You from air, your nitrogen fixing microorganisms, put it back into your soil. Okay. Also lightning is a process wherein nitrogen is fixed. Okay. And denitrification is when your nitrogen goes back into the air. Okay. Clear with the nitrogen cycle? Now what happens, okay, if nitrogen, this is the same thing that I explained here, okay, all this is the same thing, okay, I don't need to explain you all the microorganisms which are involved, because I think we've done another chapter related to all those microorganisms. Okay, now what happens if nitrogen is not available to the plant, okay, in sufficient amount? First thing, okay, what is the first thing that will get affected? The primary thing, that is your synthesis of amino acids, synthesis of proteins. How? Because replication will not occur properly, because for replication to occur you require your nitrogenous bases, right? When nitrogen is not available, nitrogenous bases are not available, first thing your replication won't occur, your protein synthesis won't occur. Okay, so eventually there will be basic shutdown, right? Basic shutdown of all your mechanisms, your important mechanisms. Okay, and later on, if replication is not there, how will cell division occur? So first thing, okay, the eventual effect that you see is that all plants which are devoid or are deficient in nitrogen, they will show stunted growth. Okay, because there will not be cell division, right? Okay. Also, you see that grains which are formed in such plants are wrinkled. Okay, because again same thing, division not occurring properly, so how will the grains have enough amount of storage of food? Okay, so you will see all wrinkled grains, even your leaves will start showing altered morphology. Okay, fine. Okay, now coming to another thing, okay, that plants, for their survival, there is something known as a carbon-nitrogen ratio. Okay, a specific ratio of carbon and nitrogen that has to be maintained, okay, between the plants. If even one of the component, okay, is not present, the ratio gets affected, and the functions of the plant, as in respiration, your chemical functions of the plant, your respiration, your enzyme actions, all that will start getting affected. Okay. See, now carbon-nitrogen ratio, okay, it's not like a fixed ratio. Okay, there is a range in which that ratio occurs. Okay, like the lower limit and the higher limit. Okay, it should not exceed also beyond that, and should not, go beyond the lower limit also. When the carbon nitrogen ratio is on the higher side, okay, towards your higher upper limit, okay, that time plants become more reproductive. Why? Because more nitrogen available, more amount of synthesis occurring of proteins and everything. Okay, and when lower, plants become more vegetative. They become more, what do you call? They become in their own state. They become what is called stable or dormant, if you can say. Okay, fine. Now, deficiency and toxicity symptoms: reduced growth, like I said, stunted growth. Okay, yellowing of old leaves. Okay, because old leaves require more amount of nitrogen for their survival. Okay, so it becomes this. Then toxicity, if there's excess, okay, of nitrogen in the soil, there is shoot elongation. Okay, and dark leaves. Okay, because more and more amount of chlorophyll. Okay, more and more amount of photosynthesis occurring. Fine. Now the commonly used fertilizers that we use are ammonium nitrate. Okay, calcium nitrate, because calcium is also required for the plant, right? So you're providing both. Potassium nitrate. Okay, potassium, I think I just explained you all why potassium is required yesterday. Okay, urea. Okay, so it's all about nitrogen. Okay, see, nitrogen deficiency symptoms. Okay, your new leaves are on the higher side, your old leaves are on the lower side. Okay, nitrogen, when it's traveling, because nitrogen is taken in by the roots, same movement like of water. Okay, your old leaves will get, okay, amino acids will be formed, okay, but they will not go towards the newer leaves. So stunted growth, less amount of newer leaves are going to be formed. Okay, you see this drooping and wilting is occurring. Normally they should be upright, right? Drooping, you can see this curling up. Okay, all because no proper cell division occurring. Okay. Okay. Now coming to phosphorus. Okay. Where have you seen the maximum use of phosphorus, or where have you seen the most abundant accumulation of phosphorus? Phosphorus backbone. So phosphorus is obviously a macronutrient required in more amount. Okay, fine. Now, phosphorus in the plant, okay, is made available by in the form of H2PO4. Okay, hydrogen phosphate. Now, apart from this, phosphate is also a very important term because most of the phosphorus is available in the form of phosphate, right? Okay. Now phosphorus is usually comes in phosphates, okay, which are there present in the soil. Okay. Apart from that, phosphates are also produced by the plant in some cases. Okay, and phosphates are the most recycled components if you go to see. Throughout photosynthesis, everything, phosphate is being recycled if you go to see. ATP breaks down ADP and this during dark reaction. Again, that is in the light reaction it is synthesized as ATP. Okay. So for maintaining a balance between reactions or for maintaining a balance in the metabolism of the plant, phosphate is essential. Okay. Now, when phosphate is deficient, okay, fertilizers which are used, okay, are your super phosphates like calcium phosphate, okay, then triple phosphates, okay, then also sometimes, okay, now also sometimes there's something known as bone meal. Okay, this is not now usually this, but in older methods of farming, okay, when animals or cattle died due to some reason, what they did was they took the bones, okay, of these cattle and they crushed it, okay, and they made a powder out of it, okay, and this bone meal was applied to plants. That's a very old method, but bone meal also the main thing was phosphorus, okay, the main component in the bone meal is phosphorus. Okay, now what happens, okay, when deficiency is there, okay, or toxicity, any of them, okay. Now phosphorus is mobile in plant tissues because it is the one which is continuously being recycled, I said. Dark reaction, light reaction, travels from stroma to grana, grana to stroma. Okay. Okay. So deficiency occurs sometimes in older leaves when they lose their potential of photosynthesis. So obviously phosphate is not going to be recycled over there. Okay? You are understanding?
Yes, yes.
Are you getting the connection? Okay. Now deficiency, when there is deficiency, there is dark purplish color on older leaves. Now this dark purplish color why you see is also because of, remember I told you all a term called as necrosis?
Yes.
When tissues get dead and they are present there on the, okay, so now when phosphorus is deficient, this purplish color is due to these necrotic areas. Okay, necrosis starts in, okay, only a certain area of the plant will start dying, okay, say the leaf, okay, certain part of the leaf will start dying and that will appear purplish in color. Okay, now excess causes deficiency symptoms of zinc, copper, ferrous and manganese. These are all your micronutrients if you go to see. Okay, so if there is an excess of these, okay, it will start depleting these. Okay, because when there is excess of